Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Life with Mama B. So glad you decided to come back, get a little more encouragement. Just want to uplift you today. As I stated in my last video, I'm going to be doing some book reviews. And this is some material that encouraged me, that, helped my growth. And today I have an author that you would definitely love. So I'm going to go over some of the highlights of the book that encouraged me, and I pray that it encourage you also. I'm going to put the link in the description box so you can go out and order these books. And both of the books that I am going to be talking about today are on Amazon, and they're very reasonable. It's by the same author, and the author is the Apostle Marsha Mosby Nicholson. So you would probably see her out on Amazon as Marsha Nicholson or Apostle Marsha Nicholson. These are some very great books, but before we get started, go ahead, like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any encouragement from me. You don't want to miss it. And then go ahead and share it out. Share it with a friend. So we want everybody to be encouraged. We want everybody to be uplifted. In this time that we're living in now, so many things going on. The media is putting so much negativity out in the atmosphere. So I just want to come on just to encourage you, to give you some positive information. And that is going to happen today with this author. Now, this author I know personally. She is my overseer. She is my leader. She is an anointed woman of God. She is a mother, a grandmother. She has been in the ministry over 50 years and just really blossoming in the ministry. What I love about her so much is she's so real. So you'll see her this way today, and then you'll see her growth. She allows you to see her growth. She allows you to share her growth. And I just so happen to serve her life, and it is a pleasure. So the book that we're going to talk about today is Divine Communication, Language of the Kingdom. This book, and listen, I've read these books personally, so I know that they will bless your life. I know that they will cause growth in your life. We are failing at communication just in the world today, because the communication that we have, the cell phones, some of us still have beepers. I don't know who does, but I'm sure some of us still have beepers, and the texting and the emailing it seems as if those things were to make our communication better. But as we see, it does not. It caused such a gap and miscommunication, all types of things. Because how many times have you gotten a text and then you read that text, you felt some kind of way about that text, but then when you actually talk to the person, that's really not what they meant, the way that you said it. So communication has really gotten lost in all of this digital technology, online, things and information. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying these things are bad, but what I'm saying is we have taken these things and substituted what is really communication. That's what we've done. And so we really need to get back to communication. So if we can't communicate with each other, then how can we communicate with God? That's a good question. One thing that we don't want to do is to get lost when it comes to communicating with God and not knowing how to communicate with God. Because if you really think about it, many people have really vacated the church. They have left the buildings because they feel like they cannot communicate with God. They feel like that there is some great rule that you have to be able to communicate with God. Not understanding that God is everywhere. He's everywhere at the same time. So just as sure as you open your mouth and begin to talk, you're talking to God. So, that communication, there is something that I related to when I read this book, not in the book, but, just relating to, how you read information and you study things, and then you take, just little symbols that allows you to put things together. So mine was horizontal communication and vertical communication. Horizontal communication meaning communication on the same level, you and I communicating, and also just when we communicate, we are looking at each other as a great source. Now, many times that doesn't happen. Many times, you're communicating with people and you're looking at the information, or you're listening to the information that they're giving you. And, it's just like, it's nothing I can use because I know that, or I'm bigger than that, or I'm past that. But, when we communicate with each other and see that as another resource, then communication is more effective. So that's that word. That's the word I wanted to get to. So we need effective communication. And it just doesn't seem like that is what we have in the world today. Because like I said earlier, we're texting, we're emailing, we're leaving voice messages, and it's a lot that's involved in effective communication. It's the message, it's your tone, it's your body language. All of that has to do with effective communication. That means that it takes all of us to be effective in communication. So what are you saying? You can't be distracted and talking to me. You can't talk to me and then be trying to listen to someone else, because you're going to miss some parts of the communication. And then when you miss parts, you come to another part, and then you really don't understand. You misunderstand it. You take it the wrong way. It could end in an argument. It could end in just a great disagreement. And really the message wasn't that, it's just that you were not involved in the communication. How many times have you talked to someone on the phone and just got really irritated because they're talking to you on the phone and everybody in the background? Even if even if it's their children, you just be want to say, you know what, take care of that and call me back. That's what we do. And so, as you can see, there are so many gaps in just our horizontal communication, our communication with each other. It's so many gaps, so much misunderstanding to how are we effectively communicating with God. That's something to look at. So let's look at this book. As I stated, the name of the book is Divine Communication, Language of the Kingdom. This book you can get on Amazon. I am going to drop the link in the description, so you will be able to go back and find this book on Amazon. So I'm going to just highlight some of the points. I've written down some highlights of this book that was very good. One thing that I like is she started off this book talking about communication. And she said, it is important to note that the methods in which we communicate are ever changing as the world progresses toward the end times. And that is so true. That is so true. Because I'm not sure what your age may be, but I remember a cell phone being this big black bag that you had in your car, and then you plug it into your cigarette lighter. And then also when there were no cell phones, when all you had was the home phone, and then the home phone was one of those rotary phones, you had to dial that. It wasn't the little touch tone. And then it came to the little touch tone. Then we got the cell phones. We got the beepers, and then we have the cell phones. And so it is steady progressing, but communication is not progressing. We're not as effective in communicating, because now we rather text each other than to pick up the phone, dial the number, and call one another. It just eliminates misunderstanding, disunity, It just eliminates all of those things. So I know this is the digital world, technology. I understand that. I get it. But we cannot allow technology to control us to where we're not effectively communicating with each other and not effectively communicating with God. So what does that have, Mama B, to do with God? Because we find ourselves spending so many hours on cell phones, social media. We find ourselves spending so much time on that till we're not, our time just studying and really focusing on self and communicating with God to see what it is that He has for our lives, our next assignment, our next instructions. How do we need to deal with the situations that we're faced with, death, lack, financial. When we don't have that information, when we cannot communicate that and then listen to God to get the instructions, we find ourselves just out here from one thing to another. We're in this and then we're in that, and then we're going to try this and then we're going to try that. So as you can see, communication is so important, but we're going to talk about divine communication. So it is important that we understand that the methods of communication are changing as the world progresses. So we do see that. And then another statement she made, understanding is one of the most important components in the process of communication. To get an understanding, to know what is being communicated to you so that you will know how to communicate and answer back. That is so important, understanding. I'm telling you, this is a good book. This book, it will help you to understand communication on a horizontal level and communication on a vertical level. And then she talks about, Apostle Nicholson, I'm talking about, she talks about her inspiration for writing this book. And I just want to read that insert, just a line or two from there, her inspiration. And she says, while evangelizing in the early 1990s, I was approached by several young Christian converts concerning their frustration with the old church towards speaking with other tongues. How many of us have experienced that? Because it just seems that most time the message is directed only to either a certain age bracket or certain people. So you can see how it is misunderstood. But the Bible says the word is just so simple, broken down to even a fool couldn't err. So we have to make the message just as simple as the message is in the Bible. So when our young people cannot get it, that's a problem. I can see how that encouraged her. That's a problem. I said this to a gentleman in the store on the other day. We have to understand that our young people are just vitally important. They are the ones that are coming up that's going to be running the world. They're going to be our presidents. They're going to be our mayors. They're going to be, our superintendents. They're going to be our pastors, preachers, and teachers. They are going to be that. And so when we get older and the torch is passed, what are we going to be serving under? That makes you have a different thought. What are we going to be serving under? So we have to make sure that we're putting the information out there so that the young people will understand, number one, as designed for this book, how to communicate divinely with God. Whether it be in their native tongue, whether it's, horizontal conversation, maybe they're communicating about God and then communicating to God. So we have to make sure that that information is very clear. So I was very inspired by that. So that just made me look at myself and say, okay, we have to make sure that we're making this message clear. What's the message? Love. What's love? Christ. We have to make sure that we are making the message clear so that everyone will be able to understand it. So listen, guys, go out to Amazon. As I stated before, I'm going to put the link in the description box and get this book, Divine Communication, Language of the Kingdom. In other parts of the book, I really enjoyed the chapter that talks about the power outage. Now, the power outage is basically talking about how we got from where we are now. What caused the disconnection in our ability to communicate. Communicate horizontally, communicate vertically. And then another chapter gives an insight on the division, the disunity, and the separation. And that has come from the beginning of time. Where did the disconnection, the disunity come from? So listen, you all want to get this book. And then divine repair of the breach, of the break, the brokenness, the disunity, the disconnection. It has to be repaired in order for us to have effective communication, horizontally and vertically. It ended with understanding the prophetic tongues, the unknown tongues, and the speaking kingdom. This is so vitally important that we understand how to communicate with God, how to communicate, speaking in tongues. If you don't believe in speaking in tongues, go ahead and get this book. It's going to become clear to you. It's a gift. It was given. It's yours to possess. It's already there. All you have to do is access it. This book is on Amazon for $10.95. It's going to be in the description. Go ahead and get that book. I'm telling you, this book really encouraged me. It encouraged me with learning to communicate with God, learning to communicate with people, and learning to communicate God to people. Yeah, because there has been a big gap in the communication. She has another book also, Spiritual Authority Empowerment. You want to get this book, say. Understanding your authority in the land. Understanding the power and authority that you have. Authority over yourself. That's where we need to start at. Because many times we see people trying to take authority and usurp authority over people. But authority over yourself. Self-control first. Before you can lead people, witness to people, guide people, you have to have self-control. That means that your life and your language is going to look like love. This link will also be in the description box. This is also on Amazon. I believe this one is like $10.95, $12.95, $12.95. So listen, guys, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Go ahead and get these books. Listen, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop down in the comment section. Leave your questions there. There was a question left on the last video by D Nice. Trust me, I'm going to answer your question. It was a question based on relationship. I am going to do a video on relationship, but you know, that's such a broad subject that we can go on and on about. But I will respond to your question. I still have a challenge to do, you guys, the water challenge. I'm going to get that done also. Listen, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share this video out so that someone else can be encouraged. Hit that notification bell so that you don't miss another video. Now, my next video, I'm coming with a great book. You all are going to love it. It's going to be great inspiration for you. It's going to be another resource that you can use as you are growing in this season. I'm praying that your growth, is beyond measure. If you feel like you are behind, you're not behind. You're right in the place where God wants you to be, and you will grow. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching this video. Thumbs up, notification, subscribe. Love you.